天空に舞えガブリアス。来たわね、ガブリアス。
Hey everyone, it's Mark. This is my recap for Pokémon Journeys episode 117 versus Cynthia, Iris, the Path to be Dragon Master. This was the 1202nd episode of the Pokemon anime, and it was all about the third battle of the Masters tournament. Let's get straight into it. After a quick recap of the Masters tournament so far, it's time for Iris's battle against Cynthia. Over in the stands, Hop continues to be shocked at how Ash has close ties with every single one of the Masters 8, which I always find funny. Let's check in with Wabam-Z before the battle starts, and they finally realize that the Unova champion is actually the Twerpet from Unova. Wow, imagine that. Also, it took me until this episode to realize that Morpeko was snacking on items from each of the regions that the trainers are representing. Since we're talking about Unova, it's munching on Castelia cones. Later in the episode, Morpeko is mowing down some old Gateau. I must just be slow for picking up on this now, like surely in the last episode Morpeko was eating a Rage candy bar and I probably just didn't realize it. Back in the locker room, the other competitors are excited to watch the battle. I mean, Steven must be trying to break his neck by watching the battle from that angle, but whatever. Lance was nowhere to be seen in this entire episode, so I am just assuming that he's crying in the corner off screen. Alright, enough preamble, let's get this battle started. We know it's Excadrill versus Gastrodon to start, and Cynthia opens the battle by setting up Rain Dance. Iris tries to counter with Metal Claw, but Gastrodon just uses its squishy slug body to absorb most of the blow. Iris is already getting sentimental, remembering her previous battle with Cynthia back during the Best Wishes series. This is when we get our parade of cameos for the episode, with Drayden watching in the city for some reason, a host of Unova rivals alongside the former champion Alder watching together, Flint and Volkner chilling out, and lastly Paul and Reggie watching at home. Cynthia sets up even more by using Acid Armor, which Iris tries to break through with Drill Run. It doesn't do much, so Cynthia goes straight into muddy water. Although Iris tells it to dodge, Excadrill just digs in instead, bracing itself from as much damage as possible. Iris realizes she's in a bad spot right now, but she's got an ace up her sleeve and calls for Horn Drill. Excadrill launches itself into the air, charges in towards Gastrodon, and lands the decisive blow. This was a very risky play, but it worked, and now Iris is one up as the rain fades away as well. Iris is fired up about this, so is Ash, and so am I. Team Rocket are reveling in her success, saying it's because of all the time she battled against them. I like how Wobbuffet just agrees, even though this is probably the first time in his life that he's ever even seen Iris. Cynthia sends in Milotic next, and Iris just recklessly rushes in with Drill Run. After easily dodging the attack, Milotic fires off a Hydro Pump, and oh my god, yeah, Excadrill is done for. Cynthia knows it too. And yeah, just like that, both trainers are down to 2 Pokemon each. Iris sends out Dragonite next and takes the fight straight to Milotic with a flurry of Thunder Punches, which surely land a ton of damage. Cynthia's strategy with her water type seems to be that she's content to let them take some hits because Milotic keeps its composure and immediately responds with Disarming Voice, landing just as much damage to Dragonite. Iris is taken aback by this, but Cynthia is ruthless and has Milotic wrap itself around Dragonite immediately, immobilizing it. This allows Milotic to charge up an Iron Head and land it head-on, literally head-on. This is all it takes to knock Dragonite out. I mean, I say that, but I didn't expect much more from Dragonite, like it was never going to be as strong as Lance's Dragonite, which we just saw in the last episode. Iris sends out Haxorus as her last Pokemon and uses Psycho Cut to nullify Milotic's Disarming Voice. Then Iris calls for Dragon Tail, Breaking Swipe, and this cuts straight through a Hydro Pump, and Haxorus continues the attack, landing a direct hit on Milotic, which is enough to knock it out. Cynthia is not happy, but Iris is over the moon. I absolutely loved how excited Iris would get whenever she would KO one of Cynthia's Pokemon. She's really wearing her heart on her sleeve in this episode. Alright, so we're down to the final showdown of this battle, and you know what that means. Well, Go certainly knew what was coming. I already played this at the start of the video, and wow, I love this scene. They made Cynthia's Garchomp look like an absolute killer in this episode. The music, the dialogue, the tension, they really created this aura around Garchomp, like it was some kind of unstoppable monster. But Haxorus was going to do its best to take it down. In what I thought was a surprising move, Cynthia leads off with Draco Meteor. And then even more surprising was how Iris countered with Outrage. I mean, this was exactly how Haxorus lost against Ash, but it works much better this time. Haxorus deflects the Draco Meteor and charges in towards Garchomp. Hop is especially impressed by this, and I love the line, "Does nothing scare him?" because Ash and Pikachu know all too well that little Axew used to be afraid of just about everything, but not anymore. Now Haxorus is getting into it with Garchomp at close range, but things are looking pretty even. Once Haxorus's outrage is over, it gets confused, but we all know what's coming next. One head smash into the ground later, and they've gotten rid of the confusion. Of course, everyone else watching had no clue that was going to happen, and even Leon was impressed with that tactic. Cynthia is impressed by her opponent as well, but this is when things get serious. After the most intimidating display of applying lip gloss that I have ever seen, Cynthia reveals that she has a keystone. Oh my gosh, just imagine if this was an actual surprise. This would have been the coolest thing ever. I mean, it was still really awesome, don't get it twisted, and now I have no clue how Iris is going to defeat this thing. This battle just went to a whole nother level. Their power is surprisingly even, although the force between these strikes is pretty massive by the looks of things. Both trainers are engrossed in the battle by this point, everyone is pouring their hearts into this one, and after a few more exchanging blows, Iris is able to pull a fast one and call for Dragon Pulse, which is too quick for Garchomp to dodge. It does manage to hang on, but it took the brunt of that attack. Iris is getting close to victory here. She knows that Haxorus is almost done for too, and decides to activate her Dragon Bond ability thing. I have no clue what to call this, but it's plain to see that Iris and Haxorus are ready to deliver one last powerful attack. Cynthia must be able to sense the intensity coming from her opponent as she calls for the decisive move as well, and Garchomp starts to charge up a mega powerful Draco Meteor. Haxorus puts its entire body into charging up a Dragon Pulse, and like, what is happening here? Am I watching a regular episode of the anime, or is this the climax of a movie or something? The drama was off the scale. The two attacks collide, massive explosions all over the place as you would expect, and eventually, once the dust settles, both Pokemon are still standing, but not for long, as Haxorus falls, giving the victory to Cynthia. And breaking my heart. I wanted Iris to win so bad, but wow, Cynthia is a beast. I can't believe how far Iris pushed her and still didn't pull out the win. Iris seems to be taking the loss relatively well, letting all of her Pokemon know that she loves them, and she can hold her head up high after that battle against Cynthia. Go and Hop are awed by what they just witnessed, but Ash seems to be in a different mood, as he walks off for his battle without saying a word. Cut over to the hallway where Iris is looking down about her defeat. Ash, being the great friend that he is, puts himself in the position to be the first person to talk to the losing trainer again. And although Iris is trying to put on a brave face, she still can't contain her emotions. She couldn't out in the battlefield when she was happy, and now she can't stop herself from crying either. But hey, sometimes a good cry is all it takes to feel better, and that's certainly the case for Iris here. Now she's just fired up to watch Ash's battle and offers to sit with Go in the stands. The episode goes off the air with Ash approaching the battlefield, Z-Ring, Mega Gloves, and Dynamax Band equipped, and now it's finally time for Ash versus Steven. I really like this episode. We'll get to my rating in a minute, but I can pretty much guarantee you it's going to be higher than you're expecting it to be. I thought this episode had so much going for it, all the little details really came together and made it extra special. I better just start breaking it down point by point, or else we'll be here forever. So the battle itself, I thought it was great. I know, some people have complaints about some of the quick knockouts. I'm over that by now. Dragonite going down easily doesn't really faze me, and if anything, I thought the KOs made Milotic and Haxorus look especially strong. As for Excadrill, well, it did have a horrible type matchup against Gastrodon, but the way they pulled off that Horn Drill just proved how close of a bond Iris and Excadrill have. I thought that was so fitting with her battle style. Speaking of battle style, seeing Cynthia just remain totally calm and focused was amazing. She is so stoic and composed all the time that she just seems like she means business 24/7. I mean, unless ice cream is involved, but that's another story. I mentioned it earlier, but the way they presented Cynthia's Garchomp was phenomenal in my opinion. They made it look as big of a threat as Leon's Charizard, which is basically the tier I was putting it on already. I think Cynthia's Garchomp is one of the strongest Pokemon in the history of the anime, and it's gonna be a problem for Ash to take down. Even though I really wanted Iris to win this match, I knew she realistically didn't have a shot, so I was just hoping she put up a good fight, and she sure did. This was the strongest we have ever seen any of Ash's traveling companions, and it just makes me so happy whenever Iris celebrated one of her victories. Of course, along with victory comes defeat, and Iris crying really just emphasized how much passion and heart she puts into her Pokemon and battling. She may be such a kid, but she is a powerful champion too, and this episode highlighted that perfectly in my opinion. The Masters Tournament is really hitting its stride now. I think this episode created the perfect atmosphere and intensity for a battle like this. It had moments that made me laugh, small moments that made me appreciate the attention to detail, some fantastic background music, and it did such a good job conveying the severity of these battles. With such skilled trainers, it's gonna be brutal when characters lose, but these defeats only show us just how strong the winners are. Cynthia demonstrated why she is the number 2 ranked trainer in the world, and I love it when an episode does a good job building up what's still to come. I don't think I mentioned any negatives at this point. I'm trying to think if I even have anything bad to say about this episode. I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10 rating, and honestly, I think if the reveal of Cynthia's Keystone had been a surprise, that may have gotten this episode a 10 out of 10. I thought it was that good. This episode brought together so many pieces of storylines and small details together and really made me feel a lot of different strong emotions throughout. I can't ask for much more than that. Now I'm just left anticipating the next matchup between Steven and Alola champion Twerp, as Team Rocket puts it. The preview for the next episode did reveal the last two Pokemon that will be in this match, Aggron for Steven and Dracovish for Ash. I don't really know if Dracovish is a great option for this battle. I feel like Lucario or Sirfetch'd would have been better choices, but I don't think it matters too much. In my predictions video, I said that Ash would win this battle with Gigantamax Gengar, but I also wouldn't be surprised by a 10 million volt Thunderbolt being the decider in this one. And by the way, can I just mention how Iris nearly defeated Cynthia without Z-moves, Dynamax, or Mega Evolution? Just imagine if Iris would have been able to Dynamax her Haxorus, or if she had turned that last Dragon Pulse into a Z-move. She could have won. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.